Hi, beautiful mama. Are you ready to feel more empowered in the area of your and your family's health and wellness journey? Taking care of your health is an important part of your self-care. In this episode of the Soul Care Mom podcast, I talk with Scott Manduck about holistic health and the importance of empowering yourself and tuning into yourself on your natural health journey. Just to be clear, we are not health professionals. This chat is solely based on research and personal experience. If you have any concerns, please seek out the help of your trusted health professionals. There is no one right path for everyone, and I hope this chat empowers you to tune into your own needs and not only find what works best for you, but allow yourself to always be open and curious so you can create a flexible wellness plan that helps you and your family to thrive on your natural wellness journey. Let's get started. Hi, Scott. Thanks so much for taking the time to chat with me today.
Hey, Catherine, thanks for having me on the show. This is amazing.
You shared with me that your holistic health journey began with some health challenges that your family was facing. Could you share more about that journey with us?
Sure. Well, it's been a long journey. It's been just over 9 years, and with that, just to give you a little background on myself, is I was not in holistic healthcare before this. I've had my own printing and marketing business for many years. I've worked with fairly large companies like Disney and Google and Microsoft and stuff like this all my life. So I did not have the background of the holistic way. My mom worked at a hospital, so very Western. And then my wife that I met 20 years ago, she was also in Western medicine. So she was an ultrasound technician or sonographer, as a lot of people call them. And just over 9.5 years ago, it kind of started with sonographers or ultrasound techs. They typically have bad shoulders, neck pain, and stuff like that, just because of the awkward and odd positions that they're in for long periods of time throughout the day. So obviously with a sore shoulder, sore neck, and stuff like that came some chronic pain with that. So it started with that just under 10 years ago. But it really started triggering a lot of other symptoms within our body, which we did not know what they were. And that is where the journey really began to figure out what was going on. Some of the symptoms, just to give you an idea, were, when you sleep on your arm and when your arm's coming out of that sleepiness, if you will, which means there's no blood going to that extremity, it's very painful, like to your whole arm, because the blood's now going through, right?
Yes.
So that pain is what my wife has been feeling for the past probably 7 years, because she hasn't had it in a while like that. But it was 7 years from the top of her head to her toes. Her entire body was like that.
Oh, wow.
So that is one of the symptoms that we're trying to figure out what that is. And we've seen neurologists, obviously MRIs, CAT scans, all these sort of wonderful things, especially doctors all over. So we've spent thousands and thousands of dollars trying to figure out what was happening with that. And then eye pressure, headaches, migraines. It kept on going down to chronic pain in her back, her feet, her pelvic area. It was just going all over, to the point to where about 7 years ago, she could barely walk up the flight of stairs. Like, you could step up one stair, pause with 2 feet, use the other foot to get up, pull yourself up one stair, wait, get up to the next stair, wait. And it was just heart-wrenching to watch my wife, who at the age of 43 could barely walk up a flight of stairs, and thinking that it was cancer, this, that, or whatever. We did all those tests and all of it came back negative. So like, okay, what the heck are we dealing with? And so we just kept on going through different Western medicine ways. And then we started going into holistic, so chiros, massage, acupuncture, Chinese teas, you name it. And nothing was really clicking. Nothing was really sticking. So we turned to a few things Dr. Google and Dr. Facebook, as I like to call them now, right? And so we kept on going down that rabbit hole. So what we did is we found this book. It was by Dr. Amy Myers, and the book is called the Autoimmune Solutions. And the reason I'm bringing this up because it was kind of a pivotal point in my wife being a stay-at-home mom at that point because she wasn't able to work with all the pain. We turned to food, and food was a big part of our journey. To start the journey, is the kick in the pants, if you will, that we needed. And that book gives your body and gives you the understanding of what food does to your body from an inflammation standpoint. So obviously we all know that sugar is bad for us. That's obviously a no-brainer. So it's getting rid of the sugars, the caffeines, gluten and stuff like that for a certain time period. And then you can slowly introduce certain things back to see how your body reacts. So with that book, that within a month, literally 30 days, almost to the day, we reduced my wife's inflammation by 95%.
Oh, that's amazing.
Which is, to me, it's one of those things, being not in medicine at the time or holistic healthcare or know what I know now, that's a big deal because there's so many different diets out there, like the keto diet and all this other stuff, but they're not a sustainable diet for someone to live on a long period of time, what we found, because we tried them. It just doesn't work. And that's our personal opinion. This book, there's so many different options for you to look at. And it's not saying that you can't eat meat or only eat meat or any of this sort of stuff. Everyone's body is different. And that is one thing that we learned with diet is everyone's genetic makeup at the cellular level wants and needs different things, and we need to pay attention to that. So once we reduce the inflammation, we're finding that she was still having some symptoms of inflammation. So it's like, well, we reduced the inflammation because we did test for it. And what we found within that is there's things called oxalates. And oxalates show as the form as inflammation within your body. It's the same type of symptoms, which is sore joints and stuff like that. And what we found when we talked to nutritionists, that a lot of them didn't understand or know what oxalates were. And at a very short point of view of it is stuff that deems to be healthy, like tomatoes, kale, uncooked broccoli, legumes, almonds, and stuff like this. These are very high oxalate foods. But if you're in chronic pain and chronic illness stage where your body's in fight or flight mode, I urge you to look into these sort of things. Just go into Google, type in high oxalate foods. Once we started to do that, that was like a whole shed of light. She was able to walk up the flight of stairs.
Oh, wonderful.
So she still had some other issues with some bacteria and stuff that we were finding in her blood through some live blood test analysis that we were doing. So we were trying to figure out what that was. And doing more research within Google, we came across an actual ad. And it had to do with your teeth. And I was like, all right. So with your teeth are like your breakers to your body. And a lot of people don't realize that, as we did. And lo and behold, my wife had two root canals done about 6 years ago now, just over 6 years ago now. And we did x-rays after x-rays and different dentists, 3 different dentists, I think it ended up being at the end. And they found that there's nothing wrong with the 2 root canals. But we found this documentary, and the documentary at the time was on Netflix, which then it was pulled off of Netflix within about 6 months because the Dental Association was ended up getting in some deep water with it. That documentary was pretty much my wife's journey, literally to a dime. It was quite humorous and funny and scary all in one. And what it is that when you get a root canal done, they obviously take the roots out and then they put in screws and they have a cap. So at the end of that screw, they leave a little gap. And that gap is a breeding ground for bacteria because it's hot and moist constantly in your mouth. And those 2 teeth that were affected have a direct correlation and link to her liver, which she was unable to detox anything because of those 2 teeth had bacteria growing at the end of them. So that was found because of that documentary that we found. So we had them holistically removed, and that night she was able for the first time to have a night's sleep with no eye pressure, migraines, headaches, and stuff like that, which was a massive, big thing for us, because when you can't sleep, your body can't heal. It's scary, and a lot of people are having that. So it sounds really weird to figure out if you got chronic pain, and the scan is called a cone scan. So if you are having some kind of issues, chronic pain, chronic illnesses, and stuff like that, get this cone scan done. It is covered. If you're in Canada. If you're in the United States, it's obviously you got to pay for it. But it is literally life-changing. And that was a big kick to us towards more holistic healing, because we had to get it holistically removed, because a normal dentist would just pull them out, and all the bacteria from those 2 root canals basically would have went into her body. So from those 2 teeth, being in Canada, we were not able to do a biopsy. And literally, I call it a biopsy because that's what they called it, and it just sounds funny, of the 2 teeth that were pulled. So we had to send them to the States, us being in Canada, and we paid the $700 to get them biopsied. And we found 16 different types of bacteria attached to those 2 teeth. It's unbelievable. So now we know that she has all those types of bacteria in her body. We then obviously start on a journey of trying to detox all these different types of bacteria. And a lot of the bacteria that was labeled in there have the symptoms of the chronic pains that she was dealing with the eye pressure, with the joint pain as well. So it's compounded on top of all the other things that we were working on. So with that comes autoimmune disease, leaky gut, and when your immune system is compromised, your body goes into fight or flight mode. Therefore, your body can't heal. So when your body can't heal, you have a hard time meditating. You can't meditate when your body's in that kind of a state. Your mind just can't quiet itself. And we spoke to tons of healers around the world, tons. And it's just unbelievable. And going through that, we ended up coming across a friend of ours introduced us to part of that journey of finding different types of spiritual healers to help her be able to quiet her mind enough to be able to heal herself, literally. We came across a friend of ours that introduced us to essential oils. So me being a skeptical person by nature, I'm like, what the heck are these snake oils? And I don't need this in our house. We need proper medicine. And then I'm thinking, well, why am I saying this? Because right now, all the other things that we've done haven't done anything. We've found all these solutions on our own. It's like, whatever. Okay, buy it. It was a few $100s. Like, whatever. Let's just try it. And the box sat there for a few months. Didn't really dig into it. And then there's this one night, which is kind of the pivotal point, literally in our holistic journey, that I will never forget, because that's where I really jumped on board, 2 feet in the swimming pool in the deep end. And because of what it was, it's around 11 o'clock at night, 11:30, and I'm watching a movie just at the end of the day. My wife's upstairs and she's jumping out of the bath, and I hear some crying. So I come upstairs, and my wife is on the floor in her bedroom in a fetal position, bawling her eyes out in pain. Obviously, I'm freaking out right now at that point. And I'm like, I'm going to call 911. Just give me a second. And I'm like, no, I'm calling 911. Like, every second matters is what I'm thinking in my mind. And we had some essential oils on our bedside table with some carrier oil there. So I just grabbed the bottle with carrier oil, squirted it into my hand. It went all over me, all over the floor. I put some lemongrass. I put some lavender because that's what was there. And from what I was told from my wife previously, that I actually remembered, thank God, that sort of stuff helps with muscle and nerve type support issues. So I was like, okay. So I was rubbing that all on her belly, and I'm sitting there for another maybe 15, 20 seconds. That felt like hours. And she looked at me. It's like, okay, it's passed. I'm like, what passed? Like, what the heck are you talking about? And I'm like, so I'm going to try to make light of it. I'm like, what, did you toot? And she's like, no. I'm like, so what the heck do you mean what passed, right? So I'm like, I'm still going to call 911. Like, whatever that was, it's not good. Will it come back? And is this a heart attack? Like, what the heck is it? And she's like, no, the pain's gone. I'm like, it's gone. I'm like, okay. So at that point, me not being the scientist or the biologist understanding what essential oils were, I started drilling her with questions, which I probably shouldn't have, but I did. And she started telling me a little bit more about them. And at that night, I went downstairs and I sent a message to my team, and I said, guys, I'm taking the next week off, literally. You guys need to just let me know if it's emergency. Obviously, I'm here, but I need to dig into some personal health issue stuff, and I had to get to dig more into this. And I literally spent the next week researching on what essential oils, how they work, how they help the body, put your body in a position to heal itself, literally, and how they work in our bodies. And lo and behold, I found the power of essential oils, that by you putting the proper essential oils, therapeutic grade essential oils in this matter, on your skin, breathing or taking internally, that within 20 seconds it reaches the brain cells, literally. Within 2 minutes it's in your blood. Within 20 minutes it's in every cell in your body. So knowing that information, we really dug into we spent probably that month, probably about $600, which wasn't a lot at the time, knowing what we spent trying to get her back to where she was, on all these different oils. I spoke with a lot of different people very high up in the company to figure out what I could do to help support my wife. And I'm so grateful for them for that time, because it wasn't just one phone call. It was many, and emails and text messages and stuff like that. And just helping her teeth, like we had those 2 teeth removed. So using that to basically cleanse and make sure that we didn't have any bacteria going into her mouth. So using clove and all these different oils and frankincense and all these different types of essential oils to help her body heal and to boost her immune system, we found her body was able to start to heal itself. Her liver started to work better. She was able to detox, because we can actually see the detox coming through her skin. So she was taking some charcoal as well to help bind the toxins in her body to help detox. And we actually started for the first time, and a week after that, we started seeing the toxins being released in her body. And you could see her starting to have more energy, be able to have a conversation, to be able to remember things, because her memory was gone. And I shouldn't say her memory was gone. It was laxed. She has a hard time remembering things, which is not like her. And we just started doing protocols on her, literally every second day. We went to a clinic, which was called Symphony of the Cells, which teaches you how to layer essential oils for different ailments. And there's many different ailments that we can help support, now that I know that. And we started doing that. And that was a big part of the essential oil journey. And because of that, she is now playing badminton as of yesterday. We were playing basketball. She's riding a bike.
Wow.
And stuff like that. She's not 100% better. That is for sure. But she's in a much better position now than what she was.
Hi, beautiful mama. Let's pause for a moment. Are you ready to learn simple ways you can bring a more natural wellness approach to your family? Essential oils are a beautiful way to support your wellness, remove chemicals from your home, and enhance your self-care. But it can be overwhelming to know where to start. That's where the free Essential Oils course for moms comes in. In this free course, you'll learn what essential oils are and their benefits for your family. You'll discover one oil that's a must-have for all moms, and you'll uncover tips and tricks to help you feel confident in using essential oils in mom life. Plus, you'll receive fun bonuses. If you want to feel good about what you use in your home and for your family, click the link in the show notes to enroll in this free course today. I can't wait to see you in the course and support you on your self-care and wellness journey, mama. Let's get back to the episode.
Right? Here's a trick question for you. What is the most polluted place in the world? House. Right? And most people go, how is that possible? Grab every cleaning solution that you use within your household. And when I say that, it's what you use to clean your floors, your counters, your sinks, your stove, your fridge, your dishes, your laundry detergent, your shampoo, your conditioner, your toothpaste, your mouthwash. Look at all these items and look on the back of them and see how long of the stuff like the long description on the back of those bottles and what's in them. And what you find is these are toxins to our body. So your body will naturally take those toxins in and naturally try to detox them, right? That is what our bodies are made to do. It's made to absorb and detox stuff on its own. We're made to heal ourselves, right?
Yes.
If your body is dealing with ailments for a long period of time, it could be massive headaches, psoriasis, eczema, migraines. It could be, you name the ailment, it doesn't matter what it is. If you start to eliminate the known toxins in your life, which are those chemicals, which is actually very easy to actually grab a natural product, which is just vinegar and water and a couple drops of essential oils, you can now clean your entire house. Everything in your house can be cleaned with those. It's actually a fraction of the cost. It's better for the environment, and it's a billion times better for you, right? So if you're dealing with chronic illnesses and chronic things, that is the very first thing I'd do. One is it's costing you a fortune, and you don't even know it. So get rid of that. Two is implement natural products, right? So like my wife was, like I said, a stay-at-home mom. She's amazing. So going through all this, and I'm working with my business, so I'm trying to bring in enough money for us to survive on. She needs to now try to find ways to do these things. When I get home, I try to help clean and make dinner and all these sort of prep lunches and all this sort of stuff but these are easy tools for our stay-at-home moms and dads, for that matter, to really look at. And you will find a huge shift in your health very quickly just by doing that one step alone.
I totally agree. There's so much added stress on our bodies, and using more natural products can help alleviate some of that and support our body's healing. And I think that's an amazing journey that you shared. My first steps into natural health was when I was pregnant with my first daughter, and I had every intention of going the conventional path and giving birth in a hospital with an OB, but there was something that was just a little bit off for us. I had a healthy pregnancy, and our OB was very talented at her job, but each visit felt rather impersonal, and I would only see my actual OB every other visit and for about 10 minutes or so. And when I had a question, I felt like I was a nuisance. But I was like, oh, this is my first baby. This is just how it goes. I didn't know what to expect. But I was really blessed to have a good friend who had gone through the experience of pregnancy a few times, and she helped me to process what I was feeling. She helped guide me to seek other options, which was something I didn't even think of. I didn't think like, oh, I can choose who I talk to and who I work with. And so we began interviewing health professionals and to figure out who we wanted to work with and who best fit our needs. And that led us to an amazing midwife who empowered us to educate ourselves. And she answered every single question. And we ended up choosing to have a home birth. And so, I mean, it was an amazing journey, and I really appreciate the medical system. But I also felt so empowered to be able to understand my body better, my needs better. And that's an amazing feeling. And I can see the process that you guys went through to figure out what you need and to think outside the box a little bit and empower yourself to be curious and learn.
And that's exactly it, is be curious. Don't accept no as an answer. Don't give up because you have your best you in your own mind, if you will, because like it's only you that you're dealing with what you're dealing with, right? Your husband or your wife, depends on who's what. They're there to support you, but they don't know 1000% what you're dealing with on the inside. So you need to be that. You need to be your own shining light. Unfortunately, in this particular case, is just pose the question saying, this is not right. I need more answers. What else can I do? And don't give up until you feel satisfied. And to me, that is why you have a support system. And I say that is because if you're dealing with chronic pain, whatever it may be, and even for you to make that decision that you made, which was phenomenal, is you made it together with obviously your husband because it's the best scenario for you. And reach out to your husband or your wife or your best friend or your aunt or mom or dad or whoever it may be. Just ask questions, because everyone has their own journeys and their own connections and own little network. and they may know something that can put you on a journey to health. And like you did, like you need to ask those questions, and look what happened. It was phenomenal.
It can also be so overwhelming to know where to start when you're pivoting on your journey. One of the biggest struggles for me personally was I was really content with going with the norm, and following the quote unquote rules. So I started to when I started to feel a pull towards something different and things that weren't necessarily new, like essential oils and things like that, or working with a midwife or going to a chiropractor, they weren't new, but they were off the beaten path for what I was used to, and I had to do internal and intentional work around that. And you were talking about that too, where ideas that were, coming across your path were unfamiliar and you feel skeptical around them. But so I had to do work around the idea that I was doing something that I wasn't supposed to do. And I had to allow myself to let go of what others would think and give myself the freedom to kind of figure out what I needed and what was truly needed for my family to thrive. And it was a challenging, but also really freeing process. So do you have any tips on that? Like mindset when you're exploring a new way of living or venturing away from conventional wisdom?
Absolutely. A big part of it, once again, is you need to try different things, because your body makeup and your cellular structure is very different from everyone else around you. Even if it is your brother or sister went through something very similar, it could be very different on how you treat that particular thing. So, is the first thing that I would always do is look at your immediate surroundings. What can you do to better your situation to give your body the best possible chance of healing itself? When you do that, that means less chemicals are going into your body, less medications, which medications are good for a lot of things, right? But they also have side effects. Like look at all the commercials that we see on TV these days. Yes, this one pill can help you with your migraines, but there's 4 minutes or 3 minutes or a minute of all these side effects of that one pill, right? So we need to find a way to get back to natural wellness. And a lot of people don't know is a lot of the medications out there in the world, they all stem from Mother Nature. They all stem from an essential oil of some sort, right? And if people understood that the medications that they're taking, the most powerful part in that drug is typically the part coming from Mother Nature, of whatever form that may be, and then they're adding these other things onto it to get it approved so they can patent it, so they can make their billions of dollars. That's what we need to get back to the root of that, what that is. And that's Mother Nature, right? And I'm not saying that just because, is we went through it, right? We went through all those different medications. It put a huge Band-Aid on top of an open wound, and the wound just got bigger and it absorbed that Band-Aid. And now what? Now we're 6 years in, and we're like, what the heck are we going to do? So once again, get rid of those chemicals in your house, because it doesn't cost you to do that, right? You can find natural wellness and natural cleaning stuff around you. That's very easy. And then from there, look at inflammation in your body, right? That there is a simple thing. You need to buy food no matter what you are, what state you're in, wherever you are in the world. You can always look at the fuel that you're putting in your body, which is food, and get rid of the toxins. And you can actually start your healing process with that. Then I highly recommend going with essential oils and their supplementation, their enzymes, and their probiotics, because that's going to bring your body back to a baseline to where it can start to self-heal. And when you get to that point of view, then you can really start fine-tuning what those other ailments are that are presenting themselves, and understand the root cause of those ailments and start getting after them.
I coach moms to create a self-care practice and living your best life, all of the areas of your life. But I would love to know, as a dad, how do you practice self-care?
It took me a while, because being a dad, being a dude, being a man, it's very different, because most dads, most men are not into the realm with their kids. And I see this because like I said, I work in my industry, 90 to 95% of the customers are women. They usually have that driving force in the household. And I commend them because that's adding on top of the job that they typically have, plus also help with the parenting. So I'm not saying that not a lot of the dads are not doing that. I'm just saying that is pretty much the standard which I'm seeing. So that being said, it took me a while to take that at grace, because it took me a little while. And the question that my wife asked me, which I'll never forget, was, how much do you spend on yourself in healthcare? I'm like, what the heck does that mean? I go to the dentist. Like, what are you talking about? She's like, no. Outside the dentist and outside the normal family doctor, what do you spend on yourself for natural wellness? I'm like, I have no idea. I had to think about that question. I was like, that's a tough question. She goes, well, you spend money on the house in the sense of fixing the paint job and the trim and the floors and the new balcony, a hot tub, your truck, and all these things. I'm like, yeah, because that's what I love. I'm like, and I'm seeing her eyes. I'm like, oh man, I'm in trouble now. It's like, yeah, but think about what you're saying. You're not spending any of that money on yourself. And without you, all those things are meaningless. I'm like, that's a good point. So what does that mean? and I took it personally. I'm like, that's right. Like, at the time I took a little bit of supplements, but I didn't take the ones that I should have been taking. So now it's kind of done a flip where some of the honeydew list gets slacked a little bit, and I'm doing more wellness on myself. So I take supplements, I take probiotics, I take enzymes to help with digestion and the food that I am taking, and that allows to absorb better. I wasn't a big person. At the time, I was 185, 190 pounds. I'm now 170 pounds, but a much heavier or healthier 170 pounds from the inside out. And I stretch more, I play more sports. I'm an athletic person as it is, but I take more time to that. And I eat much better, where before going to McDonald's or whatever it may be, it's like, all right, well, I don't know, I'm in a rush. I got a business meeting that I got to get to, and drive-through is a way to go. So now I don't do that. I plan for it a little bit and take a little bit of a wrap or whatever it may be in the truck with me, and away we go if I'm in a rush. So I am taking more time to myself to try to self-heal and self-maintenance, if you will. And that's a big part of it, that I should have asked myself that question many years ago, and I didn't.
Well, it's a wonderful thing to start whenever you realize it, right? And when you do, or I find anyway, when I do take care of myself, I have more energy to do all the other things that I need to do. So it's totally worth the investment in yourself.
For sure.
Can you tell us where we can find you online?
You can go to scottmanduck.com. That's probably the easiest. That's a little bit of the story that I was telling today. Book page, once again, just go to Scott Manduck. Is my handle on Facebook, obviously, if you want to.
Oh, well, thank you, Scott.
Thank you so much for having me on the show, Catherine. I really appreciate it.
Thanks for joining me, Mama. I'm over here giving you a big virtual hug. I love spending this time with you. You are amazing for showing up and carving out this space to nourish your soul. If you are loving the Soul Care Mom podcast, be sure to subscribe and leave a review. And if you're ready to start your mornings feeling calm and energized, get the Kickstart Your Calm Morning guide, a self-care ritual for moms, as a free gift when you join the Soul Care Mom community. Head over to soulcaremom.com/kickstart and enter your email address to get your free gift and start feeling like a calm mom today. Sending you so much love, Mama.